the thing about legacy is that it, in a way, gives you the advantage of being subconsciously part of an intergenerational audience. The other is the challenge to stay relevant and adapt to changing times. That's perhaps the predicament that the IOC and the Olympic extravaganza finds itself in the middle of. I'm Shereen Bhan. We're in Lausanne, the Olympic capital of the world. This is the IOC headquarters. This is where all the decisions get made. I'm here to speak with Thomas Bach, the president of the IOC, a man who is in charge of running this organization and has been for over a decade now. The question, though, is what is the role and the relevance of the Olympics today? How does the Olympic evolve as we look at the future? More importantly, what's the role and relevance of India in the Olympic story? Join me as we find out. This is a great example of the interest that you spoke of in India. Abhinav Bindra's jacket, the first individual gold for India, and Neeraj Chopra's javelin here. What do you make of the emergence of Indian individual athletes on the Olympic arena today?
Well, we are excited about this because India for many years was a kind of white spot. When it came to Olympic achievements, there were achievements already at the very beginning. You know, India took part already in 1900 in the Games. Then in 1924, even with a female athlete already. But we are now in a position to look forward that 100 years after Paris 24 and the first female athlete, we will have a much stronger Indian Olympic team in Paris 2024. And there, you know, role models like Abhinav and Neeraj are playing an important role. And so we are really excited about this, and we are very proud of Abhinav in particular. Because he is an excellent ambassador of the Olympic values, and they're very active. And I was also very happy to meet Neeraj here in Lausanne recently, and to see how determined he is to make the people of India proud.
He certainly is making all of us proud at this point. But you know, you spoke about Abhinav, and that brings me to one of the other priorities that you're focusing on is to make the Olympics much more than just a sport, and take the Olympic values to literally the grassroots through the Olympic education program that you've just started with the Abhinav Bindra Foundation in the state of Orissa. What kind of impact do you hope to make with that? How scalable is this likely to be? Do you intend to take this across India and perhaps other parts of the world as well?
First of all, we have to be very grateful to Abhinav for the way how he established this OVEP, as we call it, a program, the Olympic Values Education Program. And the efficiency with which he managed it, already reaching 7 million kids with the Olympic values. And you know, we think that this is not only important for sport, to make the young generation familiar with the sport and its values. It is important for society at large, because there is no better way than sport to educate without telling the kids, now you're being educated. Because in sport you're living these values, you're experiencing the positive effects if you're sticking to these values. You're experiencing that when you respect somebody else, you get respect back. You have a solidarity effect. You have a team spirit. you learn without getting a lesson that what you're doing can only work if everybody is following the same rules. That you cannot do sport together if everybody has its own rules for the game. And the same is true for society. Yeah. And in sport you see that everybody is equal. No matter what color, what belief, what religion, what political orientation you
only
have.
The color of your medals.
That's the result, you know, that there you can see everybody can win a medal. Mm-hmm. And everybody...
My shot is only breakdance. That's as far as I can go.
But everybody can enjoy also sport, you know, and I think you're nevertheless enjoying it, even if you don't make medals, otherwise you would not do it. And therefore, these kind of education programs, you know, we consider to be part of our mission to make a contribution to make the world a better place through sport.
You know, I want to address two specific questions on India. One has to do with the statement the IOC already put out about what's happening with the Wrestling Federation and currently suspended. And the other issue is on the IOA itself. And again, you have sent reminders repeatedly about elections there. What would you like to see happen on both these fronts? You are a big believer in gender parity, in gender equality. You know, are you disappointed with how things have been handled, especially on the wrestling front?
Well, what we want to see on the wrestling front is that this inquiry is coming to a result, that it's happening in a transparent way, and that then following the results of this inquiry, the necessary decisions and maybe sanctions are being taken. These cannot be allowed to hang in the air there forever. Everybody there deserves clarity. First of all, the female wrestlers, but then also the people alleged and the general public. They all deserve and need clarity, and they all need to see that the necessary consequences then are being taken, that these kind of cases cannot repeat themselves anymore. This is, you know, the clear policy of the IOC. This is our commitment to a safe sport, and in this particular case, where we are working closely with United World Wrestling to make it happen, and this is why they have suspended the National Federation to put the highest possible pressure on the Federation, but also on the authorities now to deliver results of the inquiry. With regard to IOA, we hope that you know, finally their CEO will be appointed so that IOA can really start working and can serve the athletes, because this is what the National Olympic Committee is for, to serve the athletes, to serve the Olympic team of India, and to enable the athletes, and in particular the Olympic athletes, to make India proud next year in Paris.
You know, on wrestling, as you said, that the action has already been taken, and the Indian wrestlers will participate in Serbia in the next games, but not under the national flag. They will participate as neutrals. Has there been any further update, any communication at all from the government or from the IOA on where things currently stand on this front? Of course, the matter is sub judice and there is an investigation underway as well, but has there been any communication from any Indian authority to the IOC?
No, I'm not aware of any communication in the recent time. but this is maybe also not necessary, because the procedure is now in the hands of United World Wrestling. It is their national member federation, and I'm sure that United World Wrestling is doing everything what is in their power. And this suspension, with the consequences of this suspension, no Indian colors in a World Championships, I think is a very, very strong signal also to the authorities of India.
Mm-hmm. Talking about the safety of sport, and you just talked about that as being a cause of concern as well as a cause for action on the part of the IOC. As part of the reform process that's already been undertaken, how satisfied do you feel about the work that's been done to ensure that specific guardrails are in place to ensure the safety of athletes, and what more do you believe needs to be done?
This is an extremely complex issue to address from a global organization. This kind of harassment or sexual abuse cases, they normally happen in closed circles somewhere in the world, in a city, in a village, and where you have not real access to this, or you don't have the opportunity here from Lausanne to get knowledge of this. This is why the approach that we are taking in this respect is a bottoms-up approach. We have to bring these efforts to ensure safe sport for everybody to the grassroots, because only there the knowledge is there, only there are the people on whom concerned athletes can rely, where they can whistleblow, where they can express themselves. And so this is why we have to enable the grassroots organizations there to do the prevention work, but then also to do sanctioning and follow-up. Prevention, we have provided them already, I think about 6 years ago, with a toolkit which every local club, everybody can use, where you find a guidance for how to detect or how to see indications of harassment or abuse cases to take place. What to do now, how to approach the people, and to get a clarification, what you need to do then also in cooperation with authorities, how to establish the hotline or whatever. Then in the meantime, now we have also established a training program for specialists for such cases, and where we are encouraging and pushing all the national Olympic committees to have a safe sport officer, and to have somebody in charge for safe sport also on the leaders level. And this program is running. The first certificates have been issued. Then, as a follow-up, we have dedicated $10 million to assist then regional or local entities in building up such structures. And we have taken the lead among the international federations to build such a program and to come to a common approach. Because, you know, first of all, I think it's a human obligation. Absolutely. But it's also, and this we have to tell also all these sports officials, it is necessary for the future of sport. You know, if the parents do not trust the coaches, the sports clubs anymore, when they have to be afraid that their kids are being abused there, they will just not send them there. And this, for sport, you know...
It is a crisis.
Yeah.
It is a crisis. Let me end by asking you, do you worry today, given the economic climate, given the geopolitical sensitivities, given the fact that governments find themselves fiscally constrained, that the onus is going to have to be on organizations like yours to ensure that sports remains a priority, that it remains relevant as part of you know, the world that we live in today, because it's going to be harder and harder to navigate some of these challenges and the current turbulence?
I'm not worried about the Olympic Games. There, I'm very confident, and that we can see that we have a very stable and even very favorable condition, considering the fact that we have allocated the Olympic Games, the hosts already until 2032, and that we have a two-digit number of interested already for 36, including a country which is very familiar to you, and for 2040. But the relevance of sport in society, this is at stake because governments are confronted with an economic and financial crisis for reasons of the debts they undertook in times of the pandemic. They have to be paid one day. And also this crisis has been exacerbated by the consequences of the Russian aggression of Ukraine, by sanctions, counter-sanctions, boycotts. We see a food crisis coming up. We see inflation, and we see, on the other hand, the technology, the developments in technology. So governments will have to make very careful choices when it comes to investments. And what we there have to try is to keep sport relevant and to explain to them, while any cent you give to sport is not a donation, it's an investment in the future of your country, of the new generation. This is why, as part of our second reform program, we put the focus on the contribution of sport to the realization of the UN Sustainable Development Goals. That to give you one example, sport and health. There, sport is, according to all the experts, the best tool to prevent, and in many cases also to remedy non-communicable diseases. We could see in the pandemic that sport can save lives. We could see in the pandemic how important sport is for the physical and mental health of the people. So we have to keep this awareness high among the political leaders. Our contribution to peace, very evident now in times of war and confrontation. Our contribution to the fight against climate change and global warming, very evident with the upcoming games and many other initiatives we are doing. And in this way, we want to keep sport relevant, but also we want to create the conditions for the governments to keep investing in sport, and by keeping investing in sport, by investing in the future of a healthy society.
What's your favorite sport today?
Ah, that's a tricky one. I give you the real answer, which you may say is a diplomatic answer, but it's
everything, all of them.
It's it's now what part of the fascination of the Olympic Games is that you can go from the rowing to wrestling to tennis to swimming, and you can see how diverse we human beings are, but that in sport there's a place for everybody.
So one sport you would like included?
Huh?
Can't be that hard.
I give you a guess.
With all the caveats that the host nation will get to decide all of that.
I give you a guess.
Okay. Does it involve 11 people in a team?
Football is already part of the Olympic program.
That was a Pele pass. Well done on that. Well done on that. President Bach, always a pleasure. Thank you very much for joining us here on CNBC TV18. It's been wonderful speaking to you about the past, but more importantly about the future and how you intend to ensure that the Olympics, not just the sporting extravaganza, but the movement remains relevant for the future. Appreciate your time. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you, and looking forward to my visit in India.
Absolutely look forward to your visit in India. With that, it is time for us to wrap up the CNBC TV18 special conversation from all of us here on the team. For now, goodbye and many thanks for watching.